next point. We should ensure whatever we say is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
Good day, my dear students at home. I'm Abbas Shehu by name, your usual commerce teacher. Today, we are going to continue on the topic we started some weeks back, which is foreign trade. In our previous classes, we were able to talk about the meaning of foreign trade, division of foreign trade, documents used in foreign trade, so on and so forth. Today, we shall be looking at a very key aspect of foreign trade, known as balance of trade and then balance of payment. Balance of trade and balance of payment. Now, under this period of our class, we intend to cover the following areas. Number one, we'll look at the meaning of balance of trade and then balance of payments. Then we'll look at the component of balance of payment. We'll also look at favorable and unfavorable balance of payments. We'll also go further to look at remedy for deficit or advance balance of payments. We'll also look at tariffs or restrictions to trade, to foreign trade. Number five, we'll look at reasons for the imposition of tariffs or restrictions to foreign trade. And we'll look at also procedures for international trade, terms of trade, or reasons for its worsening, and how to improve it. Then lastly, if time permits, we'll look at terminologies that are used in international trade. The first one, we're just talking about balance of trade. Balance of trade refers to the total value of goods sold and bought by a country. The total value, we're talking about value of goods sold and bought by a particular country in terms of international trade. What are the total value of goods that the country is able to sell, is able to buy within a particular period of time? That is what we refer to as balance of trade. It is usually calculated yearly, meaning annually. It deals with what is known as a visible import as well as invisible import. Visible output, export, as well as invisible export. We have explained these terms in our two previous classes. When visible export equal visible import in monetary terms, then a country is said to have a balance of trade. When the visible export is the same as visible import. Invisible export the same as invisible import. Then the country is said to have a balance of trade when they are equal. When the value of what you sell in terms of goods and services is the same as to the value of goods and services you buy, then we say there is what you call balance of trade. That's why we have it as balance. It's just like you have a scale that balance. Both sides must be equal before a scale can balance. That's what we are saying here. And that's why it is called balance of trade. A positive balance of trade is where a country's export is more than import. Then a country is said to have a positive balance of trade or a negative balance of trade. A balance of trade is said to be positive when a country exports more and imports less. When a country export is higher than its import, then a country is said to be having what is known as positive balance of trade. But where the opposite is the case, then we have what is known as negative balance of trade. That is where a country imports more than what is exported. That is negative balance of trade, and that's not good for a country. It's not good for the economy of a country. Then we go to the next item, which is balance of payment. We have dealt with balance of trade. Now we go to balance of payment. Just like you can hear, payment, this deals with what we call payment. So it is defined as the statement of record showing the relationship between a country's total payment to other countries and its total receipts from them in a year. What it shows, it is a record that shows the relationship between total payment in terms of what you are importing, and then total receipts in terms of what you are exporting. You receive when you are exporting. You pay when you are importing. So the relationship that exists between these two is what we refer to as balance of payment. Balance of payment. And it consists of three components. Balance of payment consists of three major components, which we are going to see. The first component is known as current account, followed by capital account, and the last one, monetary movement account. We will look at them one by one. The first one, which is current account, composes of receipts and payments of visible and invisible services. Visible and invisible services. Invisible services include transport, insurance, interest payments, tourism, so on and so forth. Then we have the capital account. This is made up of inflow and outflow of capital, both long and short-term capital. It consists of movement in front of investments, loans, and grants. In terms of investment, loans, and grants. What are the total investment the country is having outside? What are the total investment other countries are having in a particular country? What are the grants offered to other countries? What are the grants received by other countries or from other countries? So on and so forth. Then the last one which you have is monetary movement accounts. This account shows how the balance of the two different accounts are settled in terms of the current account and the capital account. It shows how these two accounts are settled. I was talking about the component of the balance of payments. Now we go to the types of balance of payments. Types of balance of payment. There are two types of balance of payments. Number one is known as favorable balance of payment, and the second one is known as unfavorable balance of payment. Now, what do we mean by favorable balance of payment? A favorable balance of payment occurs when the receipts from visible and invisible export is greater than payments to other countries. Mind you, we're talking about payment. When we're talking about balance of payment, we're talking about payment. So what a country is paying in terms of import is less than what the country is receiving in terms of export, a country or the balance of payment is said to be favorable. The balance of payment is said to be favorable. For example, assuming Nigeria is importing goods and services worth 10,000 and selling or exporting goods and services worth 20,000, then Nigeria is said to have what is known as favorable balance of payment, because the receipts is more than the payment. Then we have unfavorable balance of payment. Unfavorable balance of payment. This is just the opposite, where what you pay is more than what you receive, which means that you import more than you export. And this is not good as far as the economy of a country is concerned. And that's why it is even known as unfavorable balance of payment. Or you can equally call it advance balance of payment or deficit balance of payment. Deficit balance of payment or advance balance of payment. Now we go to what you call tariffs or restrictions to trade. And we're talking about here foreign trade. We talk about home trade as the buying and selling of goods and services that is normally carried out within a particular geographical place, usually a country. Whereas foreign trade is the buying and selling of goods and services that involve two different countries or two or more countries. It involves the crossing of national borders. In terms of foreign trade, there are certain restrictions. You don't just go and trade freely. No, there are certain things that restrict you. And these are what you are going to look at. Now we look at tariffs or restrictions to trade. What are tariffs? Tariffs are tax or duties imposed on imports and exports by the government of a country. That's what you call tariffs. There are tax. There are taxes or duties imposed on either goods that are exported or imported by a given country. The idea behind tariffs is to restrict the volume of trade or improve the international terms of trade. Countries impose tariffs, impose taxes, impose restrictions in order to either restrict the volume of trade, the volume of what goods and services to be imported or exported, or to improve on their terms of trade. We will, in this class, if time permits, talk about what you mean by terms of trade. Now, there are certain tools that are used, certain instruments that are put in place in order to restrict trade. And these are as follows. Number one, we have what is known as import duties or tariffs. This is talking about tax that are paid on goods that are imported from other countries into a particular country. Then we have foreign exchange control. It's talking about currency. When you are going to buy goods or services from other countries, you need their currency in order to buy. Because in their own countries, they don't use what you use here as currency. So you have to exchange your naira to either dollar, pound sterling, or what have you. So if a country wants to restrict trade, wants to restrict the extent of goods to be bought from outside, they can use this foreign exchange control in order to reduce the volume of money, to reduce the volume of hard currencies, to reduce the volume of currencies of other countries to be issued out. And this is normally done through the central bank. Then we have devaluation. This is where the value of money is being reduced. And it's done for many reasons. A country can devalue its currency in order to discourage people from outside coming to buy their own goods. It can equally devalue the currency in order to attract local industries. Then we have embargo. This is the placement of ban on certain goods. Just like we have in Nigeria today, the federal government has placed embargo on the importation of foreign rice. Then we have import monopoly. Monopoly is where we have only one seller of commodity with different buyers. So the government can say, as far as a particular product is concerned, we are going to give only one person the power, the license to import goods or to export goods. By so doing, they are restricting what is known as international trade. Then we have import quota. This is talking about the total value of goods, the total number of goods an importer or exporter is going to be dealing with. He cannot go beyond that particular. It's just like placing a ceiling that he cannot go beyond. Then we have preferential duties. This is placing duties on specific goods. Specific goods, not all goods. Specific goods. Then we have excise duties restriction. This is, of course, when we talk about excise duties reduction, we're talking about local industries. Industries that are found in a particular country. The federal government can decide to reduce the amount of money they are paying as tax, to encourage them, to make them be able to stand on their own and be able to produce goods in excess that can be produced in the country as well as be exported to other countries. Then we have import licenses. This is equally a means of restricting trade through giving specific people or importers the licenses to import. They can control that by limiting the number of importers, by limiting the number of licenses to be issued to importers. By the time they limit the number, of course, they are indirectly limiting the number of goods or services that are to be imported. Let's talking about restrictions placed on international trade. Now we go to reasons for imposition of tariffs or restrictions on international trade. There are so many reasons. Number one, protecting infant industries. Infant industries are industries that are normally newly established, that are just coming up, that are just growing up, that are yet to stand and stand firm. So government placed tariffs, duties on import or export in order to protect these industries. By the time high import rate or high tariff is placed on imported goods, these industries will have a very good environment that will be conducive for them to be able to continue operation instead of facing foreign competitors that will likely face them out of the market. So government, in order to protect these industries, to protect these infant industries, government placed tariffs on goods that are to be imported or even exported sometimes. Another reason for placing tariffs is generating revenue. A high percentage of revenue is generated from duties that are paid on goods, either brought in or taken out. And that's why we have the customs authority. As of now, they are quite doing well in terms of generating money. Then we have again, number three reason, which is preventing what is known as dumping. In order for countries to protect themselves from becoming a dumping ground where all sorts of goods can be bought and be bought, they place tariffs to control the movement of goods, to control the importation of goods or certain goods. Another one is improving balance of payment problem. We talk about balance of payment and we talk about favorable balance of payment and unfavorable balance of payment, which we equally call advanced balance of payment or deficit balance of payment. Where we have unfavorable balance of payment, then there is a big problem. It means that you are not doing well. You depend on others to survive. You import more than what you export. That is a big problem. It's just like in a household where the father, his salary or income is less than his expenditure. There's going to be a problem. So in order for government to control a deficit balance of payment, they now place tariffs. So as goods will be, the importation of goods could be controlled. Number five, preventing the importation of dangerous or harmful goods. This is very, very important. Government places tariffs in order to control the importation of goods that are considered to be harmful, that are considered to be dangerous. Now, again, number 6, creating employment. Creating employment. Government places tariffs in order to create employment. If you look at customs, for example, today, they are employed because of what you're talking about. They are employed because of what we are talking about. Many people are employed there at the port, in terms of whether seaport or airport, checking goods that are brought, checking goods that are to be taken out, getting revenue through there, and from there, getting fully or gainfully employed. Then we have again, promoting self-sufficient. If countries are allowed to import whatever they want, or if government allow people to import whatever they want into a country, then the country will not be self-sufficient. In order to be self-sufficient, countries impose certain tariffs, impose certain restrictions on certain goods. So as they themselves will be able to produce those goods and be used by them as well, instead of depending on others to supply them. Then we have number 8, checking consumption pattern. You have to check what your people are consuming. It is not everything that can be consumed. That's why we talk about even harmful or dangerous goods. You have to check not only on their consumption pattern in terms of dangerous goods, but what are they consuming? Number 9, the last one, protecting strategic industries. There are industries that are very, very strategic. So these industries also need to be protected. Now, we quickly go to, I think, the last aspect of our discussion for today. Procedures for international trade. When you want to engage in international trade, what are those things that you follow? What are the steps that need to be followed in order for you to be successful in terms of what you are doing, in terms of buying and selling internationally? Number 1, importer and exporter are brought together by a letter of inquiry. The first thing is for the importer to write a letter of inquiry to the exporter. Number 2, it is followed by sending of quotation to the buyer. Now the exporter will send a quotation to the importer, telling him of the prices of the goods that are available, the types of goods that are available. Then the importer places an order for the goods. The importer now places an order for the goods to the exporter. Then this is followed by arrangement for the goods to be shipped from the exporting country to the importing country. That's number 4. Number 5, the exporter prepares and sends copies of bill of lading to be given to the shipping agent or company. Number 6, a copy of such document is sent in advance to the importer. Number 7, when the goods arrive, the clearing agent will process and complete all necessary documents. This agent will check the manifest to ensure that the goods will be assessed by the officer in charge of that particular thing. Then the last one is the goods will be taken to the warehouse after the necessary documents or documentation have been completed. And I think because of time, we will just stop here. In our next class, we will start looking at terms of trade and other things that follow as far as terms of trade is concerned. We have to call it a day. At this point, I was thinking we'll be able to finish, but because of time, we will pause here and then continue in our next class. But as usual, before I go, we have our contact in case you want to make any observation or any question that you have to ask. Abbas Shehu on 08100127508. Again, Abbas Shehu on 08100127508. And my colleague, Yari Zakaria on 080-656-94134. Yari Zakaria on 080-656-94134. Thank you very much for being with us. Continue learning. See you in our next class.